Hansel und Gretel!
Please, come in.
Schnell!
The morning stream. I'm still stuck on Pumbaa.
And we're back, everybody. Welcome back to the program.
Yeah.
Schnell 9. I like that. There's something about his voice. Something about it I like.
Yeah, kind of a Kings of Leon, a little bit influence there, I think. It's really, really good.
Yeah, super solid. I like it.
Yeah.
Almost like I said soup or salad.
Soup or salad.
Super salad.
With that song.
All right.
The soup today is a mulligatawny.
Ooh. You know, I'd eat that.
I would eat that.
Actually, I don't even know what it is, but I'd eat it. Should I know what that is? What's a mulligatawny?
It's I think an Eastern Indian potato-based soup, if I remember correctly.
Sounds fantastic. I would absolutely eat that. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
All right, we are in the process of adding Wendy to the call. I'm going to save the show where it's at so that we can try this. Let's see here. Sorry, chat room, hang in there. Looks like she's not online yet. I'm going to text her real quick, make sure she remembered.
I guess no potato in there. It's celery, carrot, onions, butter, flour, curry, chicken stock, apple, rice, chicken, salt, pepper, and thyme.
Oh, all right. That sounds... Everything you're describing sounds great.
Really, really good. Yeah.
I currently have a 3-day-old batch of diminishing because we're eating it so much, but still a 3-day-old batch of jambalaya in the fridge, and it's so good. Oh my gosh. Even better the third day.
After those ingredients all kind of meld together and the flavors kind of merge.
Yep, that's the one. All right, we'll give this a shot. We'll see if we can get her. Let's see what's up. Oh, her phone's texts aren't going through. Maybe their internet's out or something.
Oh.
I got an error. Try that again. Not delivered. Weird. Let me check my email. Sometimes she'll send stuff there. Chat room, you like just staring at me while I do this? Do you like this? Here, stare at Brian for a minute.
Yeah.
Hi. Hi, there's Brian. He can look at you. Kim Johnson. What's this? Oh. All right, nothing from her there. So that leads me to believe that I should try her text again. Let's see here. I don't know what's up. Hopefully everything's good. Try again. Huh. Well, if we can't get her... Huh, that's real weird. I don't even get an indicator whether she's on... You know, normally I have the she's online or offline indicator. That's not even there. That's funky.
Weird.
Re-add her. Just see if this does it. Wendy. All right, we'll give that one more try. If this doesn't work, we'll do a call now and just have everybody call and have some fun. But we'll give her another shot here. Did Alex Trebek have the rest of the Kiss? That's no fun unless you have Paul Stanley and everybody else.
I think it was just. Was
it just
Gene
him?
Simmons.
All right, fair enough.
No, I decided not to bring Paul Stanley with me when I made my appearance on Jeopardy. I decided I'm unveiling a brand new set of Kiss chopstick holders for people who have problems with chopsticks.
I'd buy those.
Yep.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hi, Wendy.
Oh, hi.
Hi. Oh, hello. It's nice to see you. How are you?
Good.
I guess
How are you guys?
I guess I don't actually see you.
Good.
Hey, for some reason your phone isn't working. I tried to text you and it wouldn't text. I don't know why. It's weird.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
Really?
Yeah. I sent it, just got a big old error. It says can't be sent. And then I tried to do it with just SMS and it wouldn't do it either. So I don't know what's going on. Something's funky.
What?
No worries, though. It's my technically challenged sister. Just kidding. It's my sister, Wendy. She's now a resident of Minnesota and a therapist. Helps people all the time with real problems. And she comes on Thursdays. We do a little segment called Therapy Thursday where we help people. Lately, we've been taking calls, but today we're going to start with an email. Per Wendy's request, something you got on the website, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's very exciting. How are you, by the way? We haven't really properly just had a little talk here. How are you? What's going on? How's life?
Yeah. Check in with me. I live in a purple state. Do you guys?
You know what? We're living in a slightly more purple state every day.
Wow.
I think Brian,
blue, very blue here.
Yeah, Brian's very blue. We are traditionally very red. But there was quite the interesting numbers yesterday, and
yeah, we've elected the first openly gay governor.
Yeah, nice
Colorado.
job. That's going to be fabulous, if you know what I mean. But also, he's going to do a fabulous job. But also here,
fabulous job.
The venerable, seemingly unshakable Mia Love got toppled by a Democrat, and then got the Trump treatment yesterday, where he ripped on her on national television, for saying that she should have aligned herself closer to him. But he says, because she's got no love for me, I guess I have no love for her. Sorry, Mia. Sorry. Like, he's such an a-hole about it. Anyway, but we also passed the medical marijuana thing, which, a lot of people thought would never happen here. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's, slightly purple. It's like a bruising. It's still pretty red here, but,
it's like a bruise.
Yeah, a bruise.
And also, Ben McAdams, who beat Mia Love, is a friend of a friend, and he really is such a cool guy.
I have heard this about him. I've heard he's awesome, and deservingly so. So, well done, guy. Man. Dude.
Here you go, guy.
Let's get right to it.
Guy, man, dude.
Yeah, guy, man, dude. So we're going to do an email. I'm going to read it to you. This was actually sent to the therapythursdays.com website, and then Wendy forwarded it to me. I'm going to read it now, and we'll see what Wendy makes of it. So here we go. Dear Wendy, I am married to a wonderful woman who has decided to go vegan on moral reasons, or for moral reasons. I find myself that I do not share the same convictions as her, but I don't feel it's my place to tell her what she should feel. This year, while planning Thanksgiving, her and her sister, also vegan, decided they wanted to have a vegan Thanksgiving. Now, for me, it's no big deal to skip meat for one meal for her convictions, as I eat what I want the rest of the year. Her other sister, not vegan, is putting up a huge deal about it. I don't get the feeling that the sister who is putting up a fuss understands why it's important. The way I thought my wife should explain it to her is to say, it's like doing Satan worship at the table while they are trying to pray. Her sister is very religious, by the way. This felt like the closest thing I could think to relate to. Thoughts? I thought this discussion could be an interesting topic in your group section. Thanks for your time. I don't have a name on this one, but what do you think of this? Because we're about to hit that range, right? Like, all the families getting together, all the weirdos are coming out. Uncle Joel with his 6-pound porn collection is showing up to the house. Yeah.
And every family is already going to have tension at the table, without there being a conflict like this.
Yeah.
Already.
Like, this is that famous time of year, especially in this country, where we, all the uncomfortable stuff starts happening around the Thanksgiving table. So, how do you want to handle this one?
Well, first of all, what would you guys do? Like, I mean, the thing with veganism, real quick, is a vegetarianism to some extent, but veganism in particular, it ranks up with politics and religion. It is a belief, a system of aligning your actions with your beliefs about planet, food, the way you consume it. So it's identity politics at dinner, right? So what? I want to know.
We're losing you.
Don't walk in that part of the house.
Well, you're back.
There we go.
You're back. That was weird.
No, I'm just sitting here.
Oh. I have a great answer for this. This thing we already do. And it takes more work and is kind of a pain if everyone's being honest about it, but we think it's worth it. While Carter is not a vegan, she is a vegetarian and just doesn't eat meat at all. And Kim we just did a huge batch of jambalaya, and Kim always makes a separate pot of vegetarian jambalaya for Carter. I think the way you handle this is you do your best to accommodate everybody as best you can. And that means that for those there for the traditional, turkey and stuff like that, you do that. And then you look up some cool recipes because you care about this other person who has these strong convictions, and you say, all right, well, what's going on with the vegans in Thanksgiving? Okay, and I just did a Google search myself, and there's this huge results for this. There's tons of stuff you can make. and make dishes like that for that person. And I think it would be received as a really nice gesture and a way for everybody to kind of be at the same table and not have to worry about it so much. And that's what I would do.
Well, but if it's for moral reasons, it's not like like Carter just gets sick at the smell of meat. So it's more of a physical thing.
Yeah.
But this person doesn't want there to be meat on the table because of moral reasons. So having a turkey that she's just not eating doesn't really solve the problem of I'm vegan, I don't want to see animals get slaughtered for food or whatever. It doesn't solve that problem. It's like, all right, great, there's something for her to eat, but it doesn't, if it's a moral issue,
that's a good
there's
point.
Still a dead turkey on the table.
That's a good point. But then I would say to people, like, this is where it gets kind of philosophical, and maybe this is why I'm absolutely the wrong person for this, because then I would say to that person, well, guess what? The house right next to us, just with these two thin walls between us, has a big fat turkey on the table, and the one next to that, same thing. Like you're on the ground, right? You're standing here on the ground. You're connected to the world that's eating meat all the time. Like I guess what I'm saying is if there's no compromise to be had, that's where I would then not know what to do. I would be in his shoes and I would be like, gosh dang it, dude, if you can't even do this, then why are we even let's just all have separate Thanksgivings then. If this is just a matter of not wanting to see somebody else do something, then I guess have Thanksgiving in your apartment and don't come over.
Or yeah, exactly. Or the sister that wants to have the meat, go have a couple days before do a turkey, a smaller turkey at home for you and your family, and then come to the vegan Thanksgiving, and then you'll have had your turkey. You're like, all right, I'm satiated to get turkey. Now I'm going to have the green bean tofurkey, whatever they're going to be having at vegan Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
just like the very first Thanksgiving.
Just like the very first one. It was the same conflict, really. So Wendy, are we anywhere on the radar for how this should be handled?
Yeah, I feel like my connection's so bad. I'm scared to talk.
You sound great right now. You sound great.
You sound really good right now.
Don't move any arms or legs or anything.
Yeah, just hold perfectly still.
I know. I will try. Okay, so I feel like you're both sort of addressing what people are experiencing, right? Which is like, hey, I want to celebrate this as well. I want to be a part of things. I want to, and I want to be respected, right? I think that's part of it. And then those who've done it the same way their entire lives are like, hello, you don't just come in and get to change everything like that. That's annoying as well, right? So I think, Brian, you're sort of on the right track of, and I think this is why Friendsgiving has become such a big thing, is that you eat what you want, you reduce all the family drama, you still get the party. But I think there's a combination of sort of how to show respect, and also it comes every year. So one year if it's vegan and unsatisfying as far as you go as a meat eater, there's always like next year or the next day, or
exactly.
Part of it is, and I think my answer to his question is ultimately go to the core of it, which is the people, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes people are unrelenting about what they want, their side of things, and that goes both directions, right? And that's hard. And so you make it about that person, and then they win every fight. But if you think about it, like, I don't know, Thanksgiving is sort of this cool opportunity to pause and practice a little gratitude in a group, typically of people who brought you to the earth, or it's just, it's like, are we losing me?
You're back again.
Yeah, you just for just a second.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, I think, if you can focus on, like, Kim makes jambalaya for Carter,
right,
because she meets Carter where she's at, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a little tricky when you ask everyone else to meet you where you're at, when you're the new idea at the table. And so I read a great blog about this, actually, and to have, rather than be like the jerk vegan, which is a stereotype at this point, because there's a lot of folks who have sort of, you feel passionate and you say it, and it's like any hard conversation, we tend to just know what we think and what the other person. And so it goes kind of both ways, and I don't know, be nice and hug everybody.
By the way, I searched for jerk vegan on Google, and it came up with a bunch of images of really good jerk chicken alternative recipes. Because I was hoping it'd be like somebody looking all pissed and, maybe a little skinny and pale or something, because all my stereotypes are coming together in my head. And I was sure I was going to see that. Nope, it looks like some alternatives to some tasty jerk chicken. Good.
Yeah, I think you just have to kind of treat it as, all right, I'm going to a friend's house or going to my sister's house for another meal because, all right, turkey notwithstanding, there's so much else that we think about, we associate with Thanksgiving that would be tougher, right? No, no dairy in the potatoes or in the no gravy, like half the things that I look forward to, it's really going to be sweet potatoes and cranberries, right? Is that all that's left for vegan Thanksgiving?
Pretty much. I mean, even that, they have to be so careful and have to. I mean, if you're really hardcore about it, and it does become like one of those discussions about politics or religion around the table where there's no defense you can mount except to be belligerent if you're on the side of, well, I'm eating my turkey, leave me alone. And so I always err on this side. I mean, this is so I don't know if this is the right thing to do, and maybe this is going to vary depending on who you are or whatever, but my default stance in this kind of conflict is always the same, and it is, I don't want to be doing anything that directly affects anybody else's choice. And I don't want them doing anything that directly affects mine. So there can be influence, and that's fine. But what I mean is I am not going to force somebody to eat one way or the other, and I don't think they should force me to either. And the idea that you can't the word tolerance and tolerate has taken on a more pejorative meaning in our modern times. But I used to like the way it was used more. Like, I'm going to tolerate, meaning I'm going to suck it up and realize that there are different people than me and they're not all like me. So if they've got a different way to live or think or do or whatever, if they're not hurting someone else and they're not hurting me, let them have that choice. Let them have that freedom. I am not here to tell them one way or the other how they should live their lives. And that generally works for me. But I don't know how it would work let's say in a situation where Thanksgiving's coming, you're having the people over, nobody's really talked about it yet, but suddenly they've become radicalized in the way of veganism. And I don't mean this as a slight toward veganism. I'm just saying that they've really gotten into it recently, and they decide to use that dinner as a pulpit to stand up and really ream everybody for all the meat they're eating.
Well, yeah, that'd be a really bad situation.
It'd be a bad scene. And I just don't think that's cool to do that, nor do I think it's cool for the other side to corner them. Like, just everyone should be able to live the way they want. Would you feel it's okay to bring your
own personal turkey, like a small little, I just brought a little bit of turkey in a Tupperware thing for just me to eat, and just because I want to have some turkey on Thanksgiving, would you do that in this case?
I might.
Or would you say, really?
Yeah. Well, and you know what? Okay, if somebody's planning Thanksgiving and they're doing a full vegan workup of the Thanksgiving, I would like to come over and try it. It's fine with me if I don't have turkey that night. I would love to see what they could do. In fact, I've done this where I have some vegan friends that make amazing vegan recipes that I can't hardly believe they're vegan, or I've been to vegan restaurants. There's a vegan burrito place here that is all vegan, and I can't believe what I'm eating is vegan. It's so good. So it's not like there can't be good food, and I will happily try your food. It's not a problem. It's when it starts to become you're bad and I'm good. You better stop being bad.
Well, of course, yeah.
And that's where it gets ugly.
As long as they don't use it as an opportunity to try and convert everybody else to vegans, I don't even want to hear, see, isn't this better than like a turkey Thanksgiving? Because I'll flat out say, no, this is really tasty, but no, this is not as good as having turkey and gravy and stuffing and
right. But it does.
So I have
go ahead.
I have a thing I do with people who have sort of food street of this type of behavior in humans.
You broke up there a second. Could you repeat that?
I heard of something history of
so
something.
bad.
It is bad.
You guys are breaking up the whole time. Can I call you on something else?
You know what I'm going to try? I'm going to try to let's reestablish this entire
call.
On
Discord?
Yeah, I'm going to hang up on you guys. Hold on.
Hang up.
I'm hanging up on you. Okay, Wendy's going to go do her thing. Brian, I'm kicking you out. Okay. So now it's just me. This is really boring for home listeners, so I'm going to pause them and save the show. And then I'm going to restart here, and then I'm going to run this. Hate crap like this. It may just be her connection. I don't know, because Brian sounds fine, looks fine, and I think I look fine to him, but oh, no. Don't do that. Don't do that, Scott. You screwed that up. There you go, buddy. All right, we pull that over here. We stick it all up in there. We poke it over there. And then we come over here. We say Ibit. Nope, that didn't work. We do cover. No, it's not Coverville, is it? Coverville. Yeah, it is. We do that. And then we call him. All right, we're going to get a fresh one all together here.
Ooh, a fresh, brand new Discord channel.
Yeah,
Love it.
yeah.
All hot and fresh, right?
Fresh. Ooh, right out of the oven.
All right.
Okay.
Like a delicious
Oh,
tofurkey.
Is it any better there, Wendy, for you on your end?
Not really.
No.
Give it a second. Maybe it takes a second to.
It might. It may just be you got some weird ISP thing on your end or something. I'm hearing Brian and seeing Brian just fine.
Tell all the people in the house to
Right,
stop
'cause
streaming
I've got-
Netflix right now.
Yeah. No more Netflix.
2 it's streaming. Like, it should be good.
It should be okay. I mean, I could call you on. Skype, but let's see. Do you have that on your phone still?
What?
Skype.
What'd you call it?
Skype.
Oh, you went Skeep? I was like, what's Skeep?
You have Skype?
Yeah, call me on Skype. Let's just say for fun.
right.
I'm sure everyone loves listening to this. This is like,
Oh, they're
calling
fine.
their
I'm not
mother.
recording it for home. It's paused, so don't worry about it. We're good. All right, so I'll call you right back on there. Brian will leave you where you're at.
I'll stay here. Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
Let's see. Wendy Dunford. We haven't talked on here in over a year, it says, on Skype.
Wow.
So, we'll call her on here. Listen to some sweet music.
Doop, doop, doop.
Oh,
Whoop, whoop.
oh, now it's ringing.
Oh, we haven't even gotten the boop, whoop.
It's when you call. Oh, I don't know why it's doing it this way. I don't know.
It's like we're in a submarine. It's pinging her.
It says Wendy isn't online. Oh, now she is. All right, let's try it again. There it is.
Whoop, whoop. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Whoop, whoop. Hello.
Are you there?
Yeah, how's that?
Oh, that's much better. Can you hear us?
How's it for you is really the question.
It's great. I can now hear what you guys are actually saying.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Hey.
All right. Well, that
Okay.
warms my heart.
Weird.
All right. So
Discord.
you were. I don't remember where you were, but wherever you were, where were you?
Oh, I was going to say, so one of the things I do with people and food, kind of recognizing the history of this concept for folks is there's sort of a long history of purity, what you put in your body and meaning. And I mean, we're talking old times. This has always existed.
Yeah.
And that's maybe some scrupulosity or there's some anxiety components connected to that. Now, don't get me wrong. If you are a vegetarian, it's not because you have anxiety, but there is a long history of this type of thing. And we all have our own versions of this, right?
Right.
So my most recent version is I lived in Europe for 4 years. They like half of what you can put in American food is illegal and banned in Europe. Like it's not food. It's poison or something. I don't know what it is. And I thought, oh yeah, that's great. Let's go here. And I adjusted to the food there and learned to really love. I mean, food went bad after 3 days because there were no preservatives. Like it was real food and it was great. And I appreciated that. And I came back here and for the first 3 weeks, I was starving. I felt like there's nothing I can eat that doesn't taste like cardboard or is weird. It's just a weird. Now I'm getting more used to it, but I look at American food in grocery stores and I feel a little sick. And I think, is this what other people experience with various types of, because I do love me some bacon, right? So is that what happens when you look at bacon when you've had a shift in your perspective or you watched a documentary about how animals are treated? I mean, I kind of avoid those because I know it will probably happen to me and I love bacon. Anyway, the point being, like, we can all relate to this if we just stop for a second because we all have the exact same human makeup. Some of us just have different experiences that train it a little bit differently. So an American would go over to Europe and go, there's nothing to eat here. Well, because they're not used to it, right? And so some of it is newness and difference. And, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw these images after, I think, all the last hurricanes. You go to any grocery store, it's all cleaned out except the vegan and gluten-free sections are fully stocked, right?
Yeah. I can
So
see that.
You are lucky in a disaster if you're vegan and gluten free. And people don't know what to do with that. They would, they'd probably eat it if they were starving, but they don't. It's just unfamiliar. So as humans, we have this tendency to be leery of the unfamiliar. And when someone comes in with the unfamiliar and is preachy about it, it's, you think of I think of the Vikings, the history of Sweden, when the Christians came and said, like, no, you're going to be Christian now. That wasn't just like, oh, right. It took generations for a whole system to shift as a stranger came in and told you to try a different thing, right? And that's for good or bad, whatever. But you take food as a similar thing. We have culture around food. We have norms. We have things like cheese curds in the Midwest. I still don't get it. Like, we're just eating a plate of cheese. I don't, what?
Oh, it sounds so
It's
good,
not even
though.
good cheese.
Doesn't that sound good? It
it's
sounds
like-
good.
It's very good cheese. It squeaks. If it's fresh, it squeaks when you chew it.
Yeah.
Right. And I do love cheese, but I like some good mature British cheddar. I haven't figured out how like a clump of it on a plate deep fried is supposed to appeal to me. And when I say that to people I've met here, they're like, are you an idiot? You don't understand what cheese curds are? And I'm like, I don't understand the appeal.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can take your own, the key is I'm getting at is we all have different experiences, different training.
It's mostly Canadian, by the way. The cheese curd phenomenon is a very Canadian thing. We sort of borrowed it from them.
Well,
Yeah.
in Wisconsin, I would assume we import it across our
You
border.
put it over potatoes and like French fries, and then smother it with gravy, and that's your poutine right there.
It sounds good right now. Sorry, go ahead, Wendy.
Wow.
Getting hungry.
You're hungry. Are you dieting? What is the deal?
I am kind of, yeah. I am right now. I'm starving. Anyway.
So you take that but take anything else that divides people around a Thanksgiving dinner table. It's going to be that same concept of someone coming in with something that's unfamiliar and trying to tell you you're wrong for what you do. And what I do is the right way, the nobler way, the smarter way, right? You can literally just alienate anyone if you go in with that attitude. And I think it applies to the kind of food you eat or don't eat. And then obviously all the other subjects, right?
Right. Yeah. I feel like whatever template you apply to this one, you're going to apply to politics, you're going to apply it to religion. And we've dealt with hundreds of years of Thanksgivings that have had those awkward moments around the table. But I don't know. I always feel like there's no harm in a little bit of figuring out why an uncle's a little weird. And then just kind of, then you'll just corner off with one of the people you kind of rather talk to, and it's okay. It's fine. Yeah. Food, the thing is a little bit different because there's really no answer. If somebody says,
get away from it. Yeah.
This is like, if this is a cruelty to this turkey, or this is so cruel to this turkey, well, I don't know how to respond to that because they're right. It is. It is cruel to the turkey. We cut its head off. We cooked its body, and then we ate the damn thing. Like, it's kind of cruel. But it's also, sort of what humans have done forever. And so I can justify it that way, but it's not really a great justification. I mean, the truth is I'd like it if we could figure out a way to make really good meat in a lab and not have any animals die or get hurt or live in horrible conditions. That'd be great. I'm a vegan at heart. I just don't want to eat like they do, because I get it. I understand the moral reasons they're that way. I totally understand. And I get why they feel that way. And I applaud efforts across the board to try to improve some of that stuff. And every time I hear, they've successfully genetically grown chicken in a lab just from the DNA of a feather. Even the chicken didn't have to die. The original chicken, it's just this DNA, and they figured out how to do it, and it tastes just like real chicken. It's amazing. And I love that idea. I am all for a future where we grow all our meat in a lab, and we don't have to count on, killing hundreds of thousands of animals a year just to feed us. So,
but I could on the same note see you shying away from that. Like a listener sends us some fake meat that doesn't require refrigeration. It's just in a little plastic bag with fake meat printed on the side.
Yeah.
I don't know about this, Brian. I don't know if I can eat it.
Yeah, you're probably right. But the stuff I'm talking about does need to be refrigerated. It's literally meat just taken from, for lack of a better term, meat DNA.
Gotcha.
And made in an artificial environment, but the end result is still meat. And to me, that's the ultimate technologically served science answer in the future to kind of make everybody happy. And it also, eliminates a lot of other problems like, methane gas that you get from all the cows and cattle and the freaking, the problems you have with disease and stuff when you have too many chickens in a giant chicken farm, and like all the issues surrounding mass production of animal-based food products suddenly becomes much less of a problem because you're genetically doing it in a way that, and Brian, if you bite into it and you can't tell the difference and it doesn't look any different, then it's meat. Let's eat it. Let's
totally
go.
Fine with that.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm all good with that. But my solution isn't going to help them in 3 weeks. Is the problem?
No, it's not. It's not. It's not. But also, I think there's another part here. I mean, this is pretty predictable coming from me. But like, have a conversation about what the other person, where they're coming from. Just like ask them. If you can, for a minute, just hold your junk in check and just really hear somebody out.
Yeah.
You solve half the problem, because that's all they really want, is to know that what they have to say is valid, and that they don't actually think they're going to make you a vegan at that dinner, but that you have to, and when everyone has to defend themselves because they feel attacked, then we get nowhere. But if you can be genuinely curious, like, tell me where this comes from you. I am a vegetarian and a vegan at heart, always have been, always will be, but I can't seem to pull it off. So when I talk to somebody who is, I'm like, how do you do it? How, like, what happens to you? Tell me the story of it. And most of them have a really interesting story to why they're at that place, right? Because you talk about the engineering meat. I'm like, I'll go vegetarian before I can eat a thing that's in a bag. There's a part of me that's like, I want to know it's not sciencey. And even though in theory I can get behind it, it's the actual physiological response I have to it is probably similar to someone looking at turkey. Like, no way, I'm not eating that thing. Or, Carter's situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, have a conversation, like find out someone's story. Like, where do you come to this idea? What, has it been hard? Is it strange? Are people weird to you? That's the best question to ask. Like, how do people react to you? And they will tell you how they suddenly feel like, well, I was a normal one of you once, and now people think I'm ridiculous. It's like me and the cheese curds. I got to get on board, or I'm never going to fit in,
Yeah. This is all true. I think that you just nailed it. It's just trying to understand and actually listening to what somebody has to say. And I find a lot of times when you do that, they'll come in looking for a fight, or they'll have their guards up, and you'll go, well, wait, actually tell me about that. They kind of don't know what to say. Like they don't have a fully prepared, rational conversation to go. It's not ready to go. Instead, they're just like, well, and they'll sort of explain it, and then you're good, and you're like, okay, well, I feel like I understand that better. Thanks for explaining it. And I don't mean it has to be that formal, but sometimes just listening to what they have to say is good enough. It'll totally help them understand that their message got across, and you can come in and go, somebody came in and go, I think Trump's doing a great job, and we need to send all those Mexicans home. Like, if that's what happens at the table, as hard as it would be for me, I'd go, well, where do you come to that conclusion? Like, I'm just curious where, how you came to feel that way. And oftentimes they can't tell you that. They don't know. They're just pulling a tribe lever, or they're whatever it is. But at the very least, you're breaking down that one initial like blast door where the fight is supposed to happen. And by eliminating that, you've made for just a better evening, like. Well,
and it's another one of those. There's sort of a gut response that they haven't ever maybe explored, which is, I'm a little scared, right? Like, I don't feel maybe safe, or I have other stuff going on that I have never correlated with the fact that I feel like you get a wall on our southern border, I'm going to feel better. They maybe never can have articulated that. No one would ever listen to them articulate that. And so, it's a chance for now, obviously you got to be pretty zen to do this at Thanksgiving dinner. So maybe save it for another night, but like asking people questions is important. So I wanted to throw in a medical mental disorder that will just make everyone appreciate the vegan turkey fight.
Okay.
Ready?
All right.
I got a friend in Sweden whose son was just diagnosed with this misophonia. Have you guys heard of this
Never
before?
heard of it. Let me guess. Misophonia. Let me think.
MISO, like miso soup.
Misophonia.
Don't Google it. Let me tell you what it is.
Okay.
It's a selective sound sensitivity syndrome, and it's essentially when you hear someone eating, breathing, chewing, yawning, or whistling, you lose your mind.
Okay. I know people.
Oh my God, I have that.
Brian has it.
Yeah.
Absolutely have that.
You might have it, Brian. And here are the mild version of reaction could be anxious, uncomfortable, the urge to flee, disgust. And more severe responses are rage, anger, hatred, panic, fear, emotional distress, a desire to kill or stop whatever is making the noise, skin crawling, and suicidal thoughts.
Wow.
So I think we all have this a little bit, right? Like to me, this is one of those things that exists that everyone can relate to a little bit. There isn't actually a form of this where like you can never go into a cafeteria and eat. You can't go out to eat with people. Like it really reduces your joy in life. So
that's hardcore. I didn't know people could have it that bad. Like I get that like someone smacking their lips is going to annoy me or chewing their gum and popping it, but man, like not being able to be around any sort of mastication would be rough.
Right. Right. And it's not a problem with your ears. It usually onsets about 9 to 13. And then so often they just think you're just being like a brat, right? Like quit judging us or being such a spaz or whatever, right? Turns out like it's automatic. The sound affects the brain. It will trigger an automatic response and it depends on the severity. So there's a lot of clinics. Brian, maybe there's one in Denver. There's clinics that you can go to. They offer sound therapy with some counseling, and they help you. Some people there's actually hearing aids that can help sort of reduce the, kind of the noises that are made that are so,
really they have
triggering.
They actually have a way to dumb that sound down. That's interesting. Wow.
Yeah, and some of the treatment stuff is just like get better sleep. Like you're more prone, like all of us, right? All of us are more prone to find someone annoying when we're exhausted. Yeah. So you kind of see some of, eating, sleeping right, and exercising. But it's just so hard because this is a young kid, he's 19, 20, and just like has always just kind of dealt with it. And she's gotten to a point where it's making him feel crazy. So I was thinking, sometimes you just got to be grateful that you don't have misophonia. I'm sorry, Brian. I didn't realize you did. I didn't mean to.
Oh my God, I totally do. I used to work with a guy who would sip his coffee, but like, do it like, and then sometimes he'd go,
oh my gosh.
Okay, we all have misophonia.
I wanted to there were times I think I probably wanted to kill him. Like I probably just wanted to like slowly walk up behind, put my hands around his neck and strangle him. But
pop his neck.
What's weird is that as someone who apparently suffers from this, didn't even know it was a thing, I'm in disbelief that everybody doesn't have this, that everybody doesn't suffer from this, because how can anyone listen to stuff like that and not just go out of their mind crazy?
Well, if it's super like in your face, I think everybody would notice it. Like if you're in a meeting room or a room where somebody's going, it's dead quiet and he's sipping really loud, that just sets it apart and makes everybody notice. But I think in just common situations, like if you're just at lunch with somebody, I assume you notice it. You notice if somebody's smacking their lips or whatever.
And it's funny because Tina and I sitting at the table eating dinner, nothing, no problem. But she'll be on the couch eating carrots next to me. And don't get me wrong, I've never wanted to kill her. Let me preface this whole thing by saying that. But each bite on those little mini carrots, and then crunch is like, are you almost done with that plate of carrots?
Yeah.
We good? Can I go in the other room? And she'll vouch for this. She'll hear this episode. She'll be like, yeah, that's exactly what he's like.
So Wendy, one of these days we need to have a whole episode on that ASMR stuff. And I know we've talked about it here and there, like little bits, but this reminds me of that conversation. Because what I can't do people whispering into a microphone. It kills me. It makes me want to die.
Right.
And so there's probably, I don't know if I don't think that means I have a condition, but I'm always curious about those who love that, who are, chilled out by it and find all sorts of solace in it or whatever. And some say, oh, it's because their mom talked to them that way, and this is their brain reminding them that that's what used to happen. And I'm like, well, my mom whispered to me too and said nice things. I don't think she was always going, hey, Scott, eat your carrots. It wasn't like that. So anyway, it's something to consider.
What I love about this kind of stuff is that every one of us has a version. Like, so when I, work with someone with OCD or someone with anxiety or depression, every one of us has these things. We all have them. We just don't have them. It's like the gene didn't turn it on, right? Or the environment didn't cause it to be debilitating. So we can relate, and to me, that's the part of bringing it full circle. Thanksgiving is that you sort of come together. The idea is that differences aside, you share a meal, and the power of sharing a meal, the power of breaking bread with people is huge. We're social mammals. We need it desperately, and to me, Thanksgiving sort of epitomizes like breaking bread with those that you might want to avoid otherwise, and you got to work on your garbage, but. We're all really the same. In the end, some of us just have things that are heightened or less. I mean, you can see someone who's just like a pompous idiot and you think, oh my gosh, he's the worst. But if you just stop for a second and go, nah, okay, I kind of get that feeling of like, I got to show everyone else I'm okay. Yeah, I can relate to that. And that's all he's doing. Yeah. He's just doing it to an extreme you don't do, but you probably do a version of it, So it's like, I don't know. Team building, right? A little humbling. We're all in this together. We all have misophonia to some extent. Brian's just is a little worse, and someone's is debilitating.
Right.
But
I'd rather go to a vegan Thanksgiving than a Thanksgiving where I hear everybody eat.
Yeah, you don't want to go to a loud eating at Thanksgiving. That's not your idea of a good time.
Vegan one.
my other sister Misha, my Korean sister Misha, I say Korean. She's Korean ethnically, but she basically lived here her entire life. But she has this thing where anytime Misha tastes anything, she'll put a little something in her mouth and then go.
Oh, yeah.
Like that ice cream guy that we used to play on the show. She does too. She totally does. And next time you're here, you'll see it firsthand. It is hilarious. And she does it every time. I'm like, Misha, what do you think of this? Taste it. She'll try it and she'll go. She'll do that every time. It's gross.
I think I might have misophonia because right now I want to reach through and strangle you.
I know, right? See, there's certain levels of it where I'm just like, oh my gosh. I mean, I find it kind of endearing because it's Misha and she's funny and she's short and she makes me laugh. I don't know what her height has to do with it, but
she's short. Yeah. That means she can't hurt you. Like, there's no threat in it.
There's no threat. Yeah, there's no reason for me to back into a corner. But anyway, we hope that works out for you in your vegan meat eater nightmare that's coming up in a week and a half, dear writer. And let us know.
I'm going to send a picture. I want to see your plate because the ones online look delicious.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, want to be vegan.
Yeah, vegan food looks. I mean, I have to. When you're doing it right, it's really good. I know that Justin Robert Young here on the show, he's a meat eater. He's not a vegan, but his wife is. And Ashley makes these incredible meals. He tells me about all the time that it just sounds unbelievably good. And it can happen. I would eat a Thanksgiving made of entire vegan food. If you're going to try to tell me the turkey's no good, well, we may have an issue, but I'll eat your vegan food. That's fine. Vegan cheese, I kind of like it. I don't know where it comes from. I assume it's excreted by other vegans. I don't know. I don't know where it comes from.
From Wisconsin. By the way, a funny joke I heard the other day. I'm just starting to learn the rivalry and like the way, everyone has to have their neighboring state enemy or whatever here.
Yeah.
And I think it might be Wisconsin, but I'm not exactly positive. But I read this with the election Tuesday. It was just like on Twitter or somewhere. It was like, everyone must vote. Remember, we are one vote away from turning into Wisconsin.
Oh my gosh!
I don't exactly know what that means.
Yeah, they don't love Wisconsin. Well, they really don't like. They don't like Scott Walker, but he lost the election. He didn't get a third term, so I guess that's something.
I thought Wisconsin's archenemy was Illinois because there's fibs, effing Illinois bastards, is what they they say. Oh, another fib on the road.
Really? I've never heard that before. That's crazy. Yeah, these Middle West countries, Middle West states with their tiny little borders, they have all kinds of weird rivalries. Work it out on the football field. Work it out on the football field, you bunch of punks.
That's right.
All right. Well, Wendy, this has been great. No calls today. We're out of time, but good stuff, and we'll do more next week right here. Let's see. That's 2 Thursdays away from Thanksgiving, right? Right.
Holy cow,
right. This really should have been next week's call, but I just had to address it.
No, that's a good one. Let's get it out now while they're still preparing and planning.
2 weeks away from Thanksgiving.
Think of that. Think of that, Brian. Think of it. Oh, you're thinking about it, aren't you? You're thinking.
I'm thinking about it because I don't know if I can do a cover-thon this year. I guess I'm gonna.
Are you? I
gotta do it.
I don't know, man. It's a lot of work. You got a cold. I'm not trying to talk you out of it. I don't know why I'm doing that.
I know. Well, the cold will be gone by then, I hope. Jeez.
Yeah, we hope so. Well, Wendy, it's always good to talk to you. I hope the kids are well and everything's good. And how'd the run go? Has that already happened? I can't remember what you told us about the kids and their run.
Yeah, they did. And I forgot to do all the paperwork. So part of me is like, maybe we'll just do it next time.
So you are like me. You're like me.
I'm the year, dude.
Yeah,
I'll tell you right now.
You're like me. You're just like me. That's all. This is what this means. And I know you don't like to hear it, but Wendy's a lot like me in a lot of ways. She'll forget to do a thing.
Sorry.
She'll put it off. She'll goof it up.
I don't forget to do it. I just don't do it.
You just don't do it. It's okay. That's like me too. So we are genetically inclined toward one another, it turns out, after all. Have a fantastic week. We'll talk to you later. All right. She's gone. Beep boom.
Very good.
That's the sound of Wendy being gone. All right. That's going to do it for today's show. Thank you all for checking in. And sorry, anyone who was planning on calling. We'll make sure to get you in next week. It just went longer than we thought. Hey, that's going to do it. If you want to vote on today's titles, all those who are in the chat room and hanging out with us live, you sure can. frogpants.showbot.tv. If you are inclined to to support the show, I got a great piece of news for you. This is just going to blow your minds. You can go to patreon.com/TMS. And you're all like, man, everyone's got a Patreon. I know, they do. And it's good. You should have a cool way to support the people you like, the creators you like. Are we creators you like? We are? Well, hot damn. Go to patreon.com/TMS and throw us some support today.
A little bit of love, please. Just a little bit of love.
A little bit of love never hurt nobody. And also, as always, everything you need to know, our Twitter accounts, our email addresses, all our contact details, old shows, show notes, all that stuff is over at frogpants.com/TMS. I will now hand the keys to Brian, and he will drive us down the road of musical accompaniment.
I will. David Taylor wrote in, said, hello, Scott and Brian. On the rare time I'm in the tadpole, I'm in under Zytam, Z-Y-T-A-M-B. Ask your doctor if Zytam is right for you. Please stop taking Zytam if you're allergic to Zytam. I added those last little bits. I have tickets for the November 9th Puddles Pity Party concert in Buffalo, New York. And admittedly, being in a crowd that large is way out of my comfort zone, but I'd never forgive myself if I missed him when he's playing a mile from my house. He says, I know it's a minor problem compared to some. You know what? It's not that minor. I don't like being... That's probably the biggest complaint I have about concerts is the crowds. I'm not a big fan of being in a crowd. I know you tend to stay away, Scott, from concerts.
I don't like crowds. Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah. In Colorado, the new problem is secondhand pot smoke, which, is frequent. But, Go to see anything at Red Rocks. Go to see a Yanni show at Red Rocks. You're going to get high from the secondhand smoke.
Oh my gosh, that's no good. I did notice a lot of that in California or in Anaheim. I got a lot of secondhand, like a car would go by and you just get blasted by it. I was like, oh my god.
You just walk by some people, it's like, okay.
Yeah. Woo. Sweet and stinky.
Zytam says, that's me. You did that same joke last time I did a song request. Well, Zytam, it sounds like it's a medication.
Yeah.
See our article in Ladies Home Journal. He says, I would like to hear some Puddles to get ready for this concert, either the Tony Bennett version of Boulevard of Broken Dreams or Waltzing Matilda. Thanks, signed David. Very good. Well, actually, I shouldn't look at the chat room. Time to go